Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Keisha Evans hearing the case of Mr. Evans versus Mr. Whitley in regard to iPhone 11 misplacement. Mr. Whitley has a counterclaim, iPhone 11 borrowed. Attorney Maya, what is your argument, ma'am?
Well, Mr. Whitley said that Mr. Evans. Mr. Evans told him to borrow his phone from his house.
That's pretty old.
And then
Mr. Evans did not tell him that he could borrow the phone because he stole the phone from his house.
So, attorneys, what I'm hearing is there is a claim of theft that led to a physical altercation. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And are both of you denying that your client is at fault?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So, is there any proof or documentation that the cell phone walked away on its own?
Well, Mr. Whitley, there is no proof.
Yeah.
I have no proof.
Miss Jenkins, do you have proof that the phone was stolen? Miss Jenkins, do you have proof that the phone was stolen?
Yes.
What proof do you have, ma'am?
No.
Miss Maya, so at this time, I'm going to assume that this is all hearsay since no one can tell me where the phone is.
Well, the police have confiscated the phone, and well, police, will you bring it in, please?
Just get your phone. Just get your phone. No, get your phone.
Thank you. So I have evidence 1 at hand. So this is the alleged stolen phone. So, Mr. Evans, how exactly did I would like to hear from the clients now. Mr. Evans and Mr. Whitley, please remove your hoods and proceed. Can you please tell me exactly what happened?
You go first.
Stand up.
So,
Stand.
this is what I've heard, Your Honor. So, from what I've heard from my standings, that my phone went missing when I was in 5th period one day for class, and I was wondering where it is. So, when school was over, I saw James walking outside with his phone in his hand, which I know wasn't his because we were friends before. So when I saw it, I went to his house. So I knocked on his door and said, "Hey, do you have my phone?" He said no, holding it behind his back. So when he's holding it behind his back, I asked him, "Can I see your back? Can I see what's behind your back?" He said no. Then when he was walking away, closed the door, I actually saw my phone inside. So what I did is I pulled his hood back, and then that's how the altercation started.
Mr. Whitley.
I falsely disagree with this statement claim here. So before school, I recently had troubles with my phone because my phone was acting up. So thus, I called my friend here, and what happened is I asked him if I can borrow his phone for until he got out of school. And the reason why I asked that is because I needed to do some certain things for my schoolwork and different promises for my YouTube. And as that is happening, he runs out of school. So I go to his home and I use his phone for a second, and then my mom says that I have to come home. So at that time, I thought that I can just return this phone whenever I go home. So after school, he comes to my door and he was like, do you have my phone? And I said yes. And then after that, what ended up happening is he was like, why do you have my phone? And I said that I can borrow it. And then we went back and forth saying that he did, and then the altercation started by having to fight.
So, was the phone actually recovered in your possession at this time, Mr. Whitley?
No, ma'am. I ended up giving it back to him after the fight.
Okay. So, from my understanding, Mr. Evans, you're telling me that you never verbally agreed to let Mr. Whitley use your phone.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Mr. Whitley, you're telling me that you were allowed to borrow the phone.
Yes, ma'am.
So, attorneys, what's the argument of borrowing and theft? What is your argument?
My argument is that my other fellow friend here should be guilty for thus picking a fight when it wasn't really necessary, and we could have just said it out in our different ways of talking.
Can I have a rebuttal to that, please?
Yes, sir.
It had to be on my attorney stuff. Okay. So instead of so you said you were trying to avoid the altercation, correct? So instead of trying to avoid the altercation, why didn't you just give me back the phone when you already said yes when I was at your door?
I did give you back the phone.
You didn't give it back until we had the altercation, is what you just said.
Hey, how are you?
No,
I heard a lot about you from your grandmother.
So you agreed that before we had the altercation, the problem was that I borrowed your phone when you allowed me to, right? So whenever that I did this altercation, I was assumingly about to give it back, but you decided to start the altercation and then pick the phone with the fight. Right?
Okay. So when we were at school one day, why didn't you just give it back to me at the end of the day?
Because I did not go to school that day.
But I didn't tell you. So how did you end up with my phone?
Because I went to your house.
You went to my house, but how do you even know where I live?
You're my friend.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
I would say that we're classmates.
That's still.
And we ride the same bus, so like I know what house you go to.
All right, order in the court. I will take a 5-minute break and I will come back with my decision. So we're gonna convene.
You gotta say dismiss.
Court is now in session. Case of Evans versus Whitley. I am ready to render my decision. Attorney Jenkins and Attorney Whitley. In the case of iPhone 11 missing, Jalen Evans versus Jay Whitley, I have decided that there is too much compromising information that is missing. So therefore, I'm going to sentence you both to probation.
Are you being kidding me?
You're terrible at your job. You really suck.
We're gonna
I wish you were fired.
we're gonna start today.
My client.
Hold on.
My client
is going to jail,
and he wants to go.
Order in the
That
court.
would be in contempt.
Order in the court. Order in the court. Now, your sentence will start today, and you will sentence us out for the next 30 days. We will do 5 o'clock exercises, no cell phone privileges, and attorneys, I think that you should join your clients since neither one of you could prove a case. Thank you.